Welcome to the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm Tami Stackelhaus, fibromyalgia coach, author, and founder of the International Fibromyalgia Coaching Institute. The goal of this podcast is to empower you with access to the dream team of experts and coaches I've discovered are key to living the fibro life you love. From the comfort of your own home, and maybe even your pajamas, I'll help you take back control of your life and health. To help out with FibroFog, I always include full show notes and additional resources at fibromyalgiapodcast.com. You're listening to the Fibromyalgia Podcast with Tami Stackelhaus, episode 40. Welcome to the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm your coach, Tami Stackelhaus. Today's episode is our fourth Ask the Coach. For those of you who have been listening for a while, you know this, but for new listeners, we do this Ask the Coach episode every 10 episodes. And this is where I answer questions that have been sent in by you, our listeners. So if you have any questions or if there's any live coaching you would like me to do for you, just go to fibromyalgiapodcast.com. You'll see Ask the Coach in the menu, and please send in your questions. I love answering your questions. Today's episode, we're going to be answering the question, should I go outside my health insurance company to get the treatment that I need? We'll get to that in just a second. I have a couple of quick announcements and, of course, this week's listener shout out. Our shout out this week goes to Kirsty in Northwest England. She says, I'd just like to say thank you for the podcast and the free book I was able to access. I've been struggling with pain for a long time and finally starting to plan and pace my way back to joyful movement, loving and accepting my body for what it can do rather than what it can't. Your positivity is inspiring. I was a social worker before my pain got too intense, and I just think your outlook is awesome. It gives me hope that I will be able to do what I love again, helping others. Thanks so much, Kirsty, for sending that in. And thank you also for letting me use the email that you sent to share with people. I think your comment there about loving and accepting your body for what it can do rather than what it can't is such a huge piece of this journey. So much of our time can get wrapped up around being frustrated with what we can't do rather than focusing on the things that we can do and how we can create the best life possible. So thanks again for sending that in, and I really appreciate it so much. Thanks, Kirsty. So for announcements for this week, a couple of quick things. First off, next episode, episode 41, is going to be another interview with Dr. Robin Pfaff. She is one of my certified fibromyalgia coaches. She graduated from my training program. It's been a while ago now. And her area of expertise is really helping women through post-traumatic growth. So not just post-traumatic stress, but those of us, a lot of us, I think, have gone through this, but she really helps her clients purposefully to do this, which is where you have a traumatic situation, and instead of coming through that and having PTSD, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder, we come through those hard things and we actually end up growing through them and creating a newer, better life through them. I can definitely say that this is my journey with fibromyalgia. Going through fibromyalgia was definitely hard. It was a traumatic experience, right? Having everything that I knew about myself dissolve and go away and having to create a whole new life. But how much I've grown through that, not just the way my life looks, but also who I am as a person, right? That has been definitely an area of growth for me, for sure. So Anyway, we're going to have Robin on here next week to talk about that more. She sent me a message just a couple days ago saying that she has some really exciting stories to share about the work that she's done with her clients. And so we're going to have some of those stories to share with you on the podcast as well. So stay tuned for that coming next episode, in episode 41. For those of you who missed it, Robin also did a couple interviews, actually one interview with me a while back, and I'm actually looking it up here on my list of episodes. If you want to get a sneak peek for who Robin is and the kind of work that she does, check out episode 23. That's fibromyalgiapodcast.com/23, and you'll be able to see my previous interview with Robin that tells a little bit more about her story and a little bit about this idea of post-traumatic growth. And in our next episode, we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper, and she's going to share some of her client stories with us. All right. And then our last announcement, I am so excited to share with you guys. This has been 5 years in the making. Many of you are aware of Sherri Little, one of my clients, who passed away due to chronic pain about 5 years ago. Her story is the one that I mentioned a couple of episodes ago that is in the Pain Warriors documentary. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, I will put a link in today's show notes where you can find Pain Warriors both on iTunes and on Amazon Prime. So go to our show notes for today, episode 40, and you'll find the link to that. Sherri was a friend first. She and I met in a training for chronic pain advocates. And my biggest memory of that event with Sherri was her leading us in some laughter yoga. I don't think I have ever laughed that hard in my life. We had so much fun. Shortly after that, Sherri decided to work with me as a coach. And partway through our work together, she passed away. And you can watch the documentary to get more information on that part of her story. The official word from the official autopsy was that it was inconclusive. I have my suspicions of what likely happened that day, but she checked herself out of a hospital, went across the street to a hotel, and she was found there dead a couple days later. Now, since Sherri was in the middle of working with me at the time, one of the things that I did after her passing was to set up the Sherri Little Coaching Scholarship, which gives people with limited income a chance to work with a coach at a reduced rate, at a scholarship rate. We'll have a link to that scholarship on our website as well, for those of you who are interested in that. But the exciting thing that I have to share with you guys today is that when Sherri passed, she left money to me to set up a foundation in her honor. She wanted to give chronic pain patients some of the opportunities that she had had to find the kind of help that she needed. These are going to be grants of $1,000 or less for chronic pain patients who have limited financial situation, who are just really struggling financially. These grants are going to be for things like medical equipment, treatments that your insurance won't cover, travel to see specialists or doctors. They're going to be for things like, let's say your insurance will cover giving you a scooter, but you don't have a car that has a place for the scooter, and you have to get a thing added to the back that the scooter can ride on. I don't know why I'm totally blanking on what that would be called, but a lift in the back for the scooter. It's going to be for things like that. It could even be for those things that insurance doesn't cover, perhaps going to hyperbaric oxygen treatments or floating or whatever it might be. We've been planning to do these grants for a long time now. It's taken a long time to get the IRS approval to be a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. We finally have that. And then now we are in the very last stage of having our application process approved by the IRS. As soon as we have that approval, we'll be able to open up the application window. I can tell you guys a few things. So for those of you who are listening to this and thinking, oh my gosh, that would be so amazing, I'm going to give you some of the criteria that we're going to be looking for, the things you're going to need to do to apply, so that if you need to get this together, you can be doing that, and so you're ready when we open up. Now, I'll be honest, you guys, I expect that we are going to get way more applications than we can approve, unfortunately. So this is going to be a little crazy. When the window opens up, make sure you take advantage of it, because it will probably open and close very quickly, because we can only give out about 5 of these grants every year. And as you can imagine, with how many people there are just in the US with chronic pain, 5 isn't going to go very far. So what we are going to be looking for is, first and foremost, we are looking for people who have chronic pain. So you have to have a diagnosed chronic pain condition, which means you'll want, a note from your doctor saying that this is in fact your diagnosis. It could be fibromyalgia, it could be something else. Sherri's stipulations were that it would be for chronic pain patients in general, not just fibromyalgia. We're also going to be looking for financial need, which means you're going to need to submit your last year's tax return. Now, right now, I realize that there's even more challenges since January, right, with COVID. So there may be some options there for submitting like unemployment checks or something like that. That's something that we're still working out with the IRS on our application process, but there will be a procedure for showing that you do have financial need for this grant. We're also we need to know how you're going to use the money, right? So you'll need to submit your plan for how this grant is going to be used. I can tell you that the applications that are most likely to be accepted, the people who are most likely to have the grants awarded to them, are the people with the clearest plan. So if you were to, for instance, apply and say, I need to buy the lift to go on the back of my car so I can, take my scooter places, and it's going to cost X amount of dollars. Here's where I would buy it. So the more specific you get, the better. Because we have to show the IRS where the money goes, we're going to be paying those out directly to the person you're getting the service through, whether that's the coach or the doctor or the medical equipment company or whatever it might be. We're paying those directly. Which also then means that you'll have to sign a HIPAA release for us showing that we can communicate with your doctor to, obviously see the bill that we're paying and things like that. So those are just a few things there about the grants and the grant process. Like I said, we're going to be giving away $1,000 grants, so 5 grants of $1,000 each, up to $1,000 each. If you're looking for something that costs less than $1,000, we'll cover all of it. If you're looking for something that's going to cost more than $1,000, we'll cover up to $1,000 of it. Now, that application window, I expect to be opening up in the next couple of months, but that is dependent upon when we get the approval that we need. So just stay tuned. Now, one of the main reasons I'm announcing this all today on this particular episode is because today, as this episode is being released, is the 5th anniversary of Sherri's passing. So I wanted to announce it today, even though we don't quite have everything in place. So what I would like you to do, if you're interested in being notified when that application window opens, just go to sherrillittlefoundation.org. Sherri.org. That's Sherri with 2 R's and an I, Sherri, Little, Little, Foundation.org. And we'll have that link in today's show notes at fibromyalgiapodcast.com/40. We'll have that link. Just go to the Sherri Little Foundation website. There will be a place where you can sign up, and you will then be notified as that application window gets closer, as we open up for applications, and so on. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. Now, having said all of that, I hope you guys are as excited as I am. This was Sherri's dream, to be able to help those pain patients that maybe had fewer financial resources to be able to get access to some of the treatments that they need. And I'm so excited to finally be able to do that for her. Which leads us into today's question, today's Ask the Coach question. Now, the specific question I received was, should I go outside the Veterans Administration? Should I go outside the VA to get fibromyalgia treatment? But I think that question is applied to really any kind of insurance, right? Should I go outside of my insurance to get fibromyalgia treatment? Whether that is, paying for doctors or treatments out of pocket, or, should I just stick with what my insurance will cover? And that question is one that I've sort of delayed on answering, because the answer isn't probably what you want to hear. The answer is, yeah, you do. You need to. You need to go outside your insurance. You need to do what it takes to get yourself feeling better. And sadly, most of the things that, in my own life and in my client's life, most of the things that I see making the biggest difference in feeling better are often things that insurance doesn't cover. It's things like taking certain supplements. It's things like chiropractic and massage and acupuncture. Now, your insurance could cover some of these things. It probably won't cover all of it. So, for example, and every insurance is different. Every insurance company is different. Every employer has different coverage, which with each insurance company. So I'll give you a few examples. At my husband's old job, I received a certain number of chiropractic visits. I can't remember now. I want to say it was like 12 or 20 or something like that. I received a certain number of chiropractic visits. I received no massage coverage at all. So any massage that I received, it was completely out of pocket. His new job, I still have a limited number of chiropractic visits, but massage, as long as it is therapeutic massage, so like what you would get at a chiropractor's office or at a physical therapist's office, not a fluff and buff, as one of my massage therapists called it, where it's really just a relaxation massage. Those are not covered at all. But the therapeutic massage is covered 100% after I meet the deductible. So, or I should say 80%. It's covered the same as all my other medical expenses, the 80/20 coverage, as soon as I meet my deductible. So again, two completely different, it's actually the same insurance company, but two different employers had different coverage for different things. There may also be, if you have a healthcare spending account, if you have a flex spending account, an HSA or an FSA, you can often use that money to buy things out of pre-tax money that would not be covered under insurance, but is still, healthcare. So for instance, you're at your doctor's office, your doctor recommends a particular supplement, the doctor has it, they hand it to you, you pay for your visit and that supplement with your HSA or FSA card, and then that is covered. But if you were to go down to, Walgreens or Rite Aid or order on Amazon, that supplement may not be covered. So just an example there. Now, all of this, I imagine there's probably a lot of you that are listening to me and your eyes are glazing over and your eyes are rolling back in your head, because this is just so annoying and so complicated. And you're right, it is. I'm sorry that it's that way. But we each have to decide how we want the priority that our health has. And I realize that, finances are a consideration, especially right now during this pandemic. There's a lot of you who may not be working, your spouse may not be working. It's definitely a challenge. But the bottom line is you have to decide how you're going to be spending your money, right? There may be things that you need to cut out of your life for a little while so that you can get your health better off. Whether that's, cutting out the Starbucks so you can buy the supplements, or choosing to maybe spend a little bit more out of pocket for a specialist versus just seeing your primary care provider, or seeing things in the out of network coverage versus just the in network providers. It's one of those things where if the ultimate goal is to feel your best, what are you willing to do to get there? And I wish I could say that just going to your primary care provider under your insurance, doing what they tell you would get you there. But I would be lying to you if I said that. And the reality is it's just not. No matter how good your doctor is, and trust me, I have had the best, there are still things that you're going to have to pay for out of pocket if you really want to get better. And for a lot of you, you don't have that option, which is why I'm pairing today's Ask the Coach with the announcement of the Sherri Little Foundation grants for those of you who do have financial need. So I know this is tough for a lot of you listening. Some of you listening, you've got the financial resources. That's fantastic. And it's really just a matter of you realizing that your insurance, your primary care provider, isn't going to get you there, and you got to go outside and get the help that you need. Maybe you didn't know that. Awesome. Now you do. And that is one of the things that I often help my clients with is, okay, who do I need to see? What treatments do I need to try? And I can really help steer you to the best use of your money, so that you're not just spending all that money out of your pocket and having it go to things that aren't helping, because there are a lot of things out there that have a lot of hype but don't really help. So for those of you in that situation where you're like, oh, okay, I didn't realize I had to do that. Now I know. Awesome. That's great. Just let me know if I can help. Happy to do a consultation anytime and kind of direct you in what your next step might be. For those of you who aren't able to just say, oh, okay, I'll just go spend that money, then what I want you to do, this is the coach in me, right? So here's your next steps. What I want you to do is look at your family budget. First off, if you don't have a budget, make one, because if you don't tell your money where to go, it's going to do what it wants to do, and you will. I mean, we've all been there, right? Where you got maybe $20 for your birthday, and next thing you knew, it was gone, and you didn't really do anything with it, right? So having a budget can really, really help, particularly when it comes to prioritizing your health needs. This may be a conversation that you have to have with your family, your spouse, about how that money's being spent. Early on, one of the things I did was I stopped paying for cable because I wanted that money to go towards other things, towards my health. So there may be some decisions to make in there. And then also think about what is working and what is not working for you. And there may be a conversation in here where you need to have with your providers, or you need to have with a coach, where you're looking at what you're doing and whether or not it's actually helping. There may be things that you're spending money on that worked for a while and now aren't, or maybe maybe there were supplements that you were taking and now your body is healing and those are less important and you don't need them anymore. Hard to say. So let's look at what's working, what's not, so we can make some smart decisions about where that money is going. And then learn what you can about the treatment options that really do work for fibromyalgia. And you can do a lot of that listening to this podcast. I also recommend that you get a copy of my book, Take Back Your Life, because I talk about a lot of this in there as well. And you can get a free copy of that book at fibromyalgiapodcast.com/books. You'll see books in the menu. All right, so want to recap here. The question, do I need to go outside of my insurance? Should I go outside of my insurance to get the treatment that I need for fibromyalgia? If I want to feel better, do I have to go outside of my insurance? And the answer to that, unfortunately, is yes. You do. You're going to need to go outside your insurance, whether that's, buying supplements or, spending for specific treatment options, paying for a specific provider that may be out of network with your insurance. The bottom line is, if you want to feel better, unless you are super lucky to have an amazing doctor that can help you, and even then, there are going to be things you're going to need to pay for out of pocket. So that's the bottom line to our answer. And with that, I also am giving you the good news that we're going to be giving away $5,000 this year, to $1,000 to 5 different people for grants to help pay for some of this stuff that's out of pocket. If you ever want to have a conversation about what things are going to work best for you, absolutely schedule a consultation. You can schedule one with me. You can schedule with one of my coaches. There are several options for you out there. Just go to findafibrocoach.com and you'll be able to request a consultation. And with our experience working with people with fibromyalgia, we'll be able to give you some really good guidance so that you can make that money count in the best possible way. All right, you guys. So today was sort of a good news, bad news episode, which isn't like my normal episode for you guys. I did want to announce the Sherri Little Foundation, and I really wanted to answer that question about going outside of your insurance and paying for things out of pocket, because I think there are a lot of people out there who think they should be able to get it all done under their insurance. And so they keep trying different things, different medications their doctor is prescribing, different providers that are all in their insurance. And the reality is that's really only going to take you so far, and it's not going to take you all the way. So we need to adjust our expectations and realize that this is going to take an investment. Just like if you wanted to get in shape or, reduce your high blood pressure or whatever those things are, there's going to be some investment on your part of money, time, energy, effort, lifestyle changes, mindset changes. And I would love to help you guys with that if there's any way that I can. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. Remember, next episode 41, is with Dr. Robin Pfaff. We're going to be talking about post-traumatic growth, and we're going to have some awesome stories to tell you of some breakthroughs that some of her clients with fibromyalgia have had in working through her process with them. So take care of yourself. Stay safe. I know it's really interesting out there. Here in Washington, we've had an uptick in the number of coronavirus cases. So you guys keep wearing your mask, keep staying safe, and I'll see you guys back here next time. Bye. And that wraps up another episode of the Fibromyalgia Podcast. If you're ready to see if working with a fibromyalgia coach can help you feel better faster, visit fibromyalgiapodcast.com, where you can schedule a complimentary consultation to explore your options. During this call, we'll discuss your fibromyalgia journey, what your needs and challenges are, and give you recommendations on how to reach your goals the quickest way possible. Thank you for tuning in today, and join us next time as we explore more ways to help you take back control of your life and health. My music and sound editing were done by Daniel Munkus at Subtle Soup Records. Podcast management and creative copy by Sonia Louise of Performance Podcasting.